I have a question. Based on your personal experience, would you say that OnePlus is the best company that has signal strength and data speeds? Um, it's typically not, to be honest with you, it typically does not depend on the company. It depends on the modem. So, I take that back. Well, it kind of depends on the company. It really depends on the modem. So, depending on where you live, here in the United States, I have T-Mobile. T-Mobile, I think AT&T just launched their 5G, their real, true 5G network, but it's not as robust as T-Mobile's. T-Mobile has and they just launched it maybe 6 to 8 months ago, has the first true, real 5G network. I know it was shocked to me when I read the information because we've been seeing for years, oh, the best 5G, the best 5G speeds. It was really 4G on steroids. T-Mobile literally just launched the very first 5G network, real 5G network, about 6 to 8 months ago. It changed my life because I live in a dead spot. Now, I say that to say this: it depends on what modem you have in your phone. Now, they sync. The modem is packed in with like the CPU, the system on a chip handles that, but typically for me, the modem I've had the most success with, signal strength, data speeds, is the Qualcomm Snapdragon CPU. Now, they don't put them on every CPU. It's only on the flagship CPUs that they put their newest, fastest modem in there. It's the X85 modem, and it only goes back 3 years. So you're essentially going to have a flagship Qualcomm chip from this year, from last year, or the year before. So, no, I take that back. It was the last 2 years because you have to have either an S25 or an S26 to get these speeds, or to get this network. Now, it depends on what modem you have. It depends on what bands that modem picks up, and it depends on the phone, like you were saying, where they place the antennas in the phone. So like some of these phones, well, all of these phones have little antenna bands. You can see them. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on this black phone. See that little strip right there? Right there you go. See that? They're strategically placed all around the phone. That's actually an antenna band that they cram into the frame of the phone. So that actually helps pick up signals. So the OnePlus 15 has the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Even the OnePlus 15R has last year's Snapdragon 8 Elite. That will still pick up the very best signal, but it depends on where they put the antennas, because you can have the very best modem that picks up the most bands and the best frequencies that the towers put out, but it's also where they place the antennas on the phone. So the answer is kind of a yes and no. Well, it's not a no, but there could. So here's it, like, you really got to look at. So whenever I get a phone, that's besides price, that is one of the most important things to me, is signal strength, because I live in a dead spot. So when I go to buy a phone, I look at, okay, what CPU does it have in it? And then obviously I shouldn't say obviously, because I did use the Nothing Phone 4a Pro, but I had issues with that, so I sent it back. But like for this phone or the OnePlus 15, I already know what CPU it has in it. But I go one step farther and then look at what bands it supports. So you can go to, typically I go to GSM Arena. They have a bunch of good information, what bands it picks up. So here's what I would do if I were you. If you're looking for a phone or a OnePlus 15, let's say, go to OnePlus 15, Google OnePlus 15 GSM Arena. In fact, I'll show you real quick, and then we'll move on. And then, so we're at OnePlus 15. If you're looking at getting to this one, Google whatever phone you're looking into, and then hit GSM Arena after that. It'll take you here, and then go to, what the hell? Where did the, oh, here we go. The expand button right here on the right. It'll expand all the bands. Now, this is specific to you got to do your homework a little bit. This is very specific to what carrier you're using. For, in my case, T-Mobile. So you're going to want to go to Google and ask Google T-Mobile 5G bands, and it'll spit out 3 to 4, maybe 5 numbers, and you want to link it up to, because a lot of these phones as well have a China model and a global model, right? Or a USA model. You want to make sure you're not buying the China model unless you're in China. But if you're in Texas like I am, you want to make sure you're getting the USA model or global model, either one. And then you want to take those T-Mobile 5G bands, and you want to go over here where it says 5G, and you want to match that up and see how many bands match up with your carrier, or AT&T or Cricket or Metro PCS or whatever. You want to make sure you have at least, I would say, obviously the more the better, but at least 3 out of the 5. I think you'll be okay. I would 2. I would that's pushing it. I've done 2, and it's a real finicky. Like, it's hit or miss. 3 the very least. If you only get 2, I would pass. Definitely I wouldn't even do 1. 3, again, the more the better. I think this one has 2, 12, 41. That's 3, 71. That's 4. So this OnePlus 15 takes 4, I think all 4 or 4 out of the 5 T-Mobile bands. So, I mean, it's pretty good. Look, my experience with the OnePlus 15 is pretty good as far as signal strength. Really good. I think the best signal strength I've had on any phone, that's a good question. I'm going to come back and think about that, because I had to go through some of my videos, because I do network testing and stuff. It might be Samsung, honestly, but I'll get back to you on that, because that's a really good question. But hopefully I answered your question. From your personal experience, I noticed that signal strength is way stronger on OnePlus. Really? So you're the opposite. Again, it depends on where you're located. It depends on what carrier you have, right? There's a lot of variables that can dictate the final outcome, right? To what phone you're using, where you're located, what carrier you're using. So in some spots, T-Mobile might get a better signal than Verizon or AT&T. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends. But with my experience, I think my Samsung might be a little better, but OnePlus was certainly not bad. The phone that was really bad was the Nothing Phone 4A Pro. That thing was ridiculous on Wi-Fi and on network. So that's why I returned it. Plus, it didn't get Wi-Fi 7. So I'm like, what am I doing? But, having the same carrier in the same spot for coverage. Okay. Oh, okay. So I was correct. So it does go back the last 3 years. So Bradley's saying his S24 Ultra gets those new speeds. So it's currently the S26, S25, or S24. I should have gone with my first recall in my brain. Yeah, we're gonna jump into it right now. X75 also works with T-Mobile's 3GPP release 18. Okay. X75, the modems that you need to look for if you're diving into this is the X75, X80, and X85. X85 is being their latest and greatest, which is in the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 and also the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 as well. And then I think the S75 is in the S24 series, and then the X80 is in the S25 series. And then the OnePlus 15R would have the Snapdragon X80, which, again, as I mentioned earlier, will still pick up T-Mobile's new 5G network. How future-proof is the OnePlus 15R? I mean, it's relatively future-proof. Obviously not as future-proofed as the OnePlus 15, but I mean, it'll last you. I think the update schedule for the OnePlus 15R sounds about right. Let's find out. I think what do they update them? 3 years for software, 4 years for security. Let's find out. Yeah, okay. 4 years of Android updates, 6 years of security updates. I think you'll be good for the next 4 years. Now, if you want to go any longer than that, I don't remember off the top of my head if the 15R has Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6. I mean, it's pretty future-proof, I would think, at least for the next few years. I think the OnePlus 15, probably you could use that going into 6 years, honestly, because it just has, a little better upgraded specs that should last you a little longer. But I think the OnePlus 15R, if you can find one at a good price, is a phenomenal buy, right? Just depends on how much you get it for, but I think it would be a good phone to use moving into the future, at least for the next few years, for sure. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. If you're gonna buy a phone and you're planning on holding on to it, let's say for 6 years, I would definitely spend a little extra money and go with the OnePlus 15, because moving into year 4, year 5, probably gonna be wishing you had the flagship specs. That's when you really stretch the device to its limits. Once you get to year 4, 5, and 6, you're probably going to be wishing you had spent that extra 100 or $200. I know it seems like a lot now, but trust me, if you plan on holding on to it for as long as you can, you're going to want to get the flagship. You're definitely going to want to get the flagship for sure. And they're going to update them. Remember, OnePlus is stepping back in the US, but by law, they absolutely have to update them. And I think they will. So, okay, let's jump into this real quick. How long have I been on? 35 minutes. And then we're going to breeze through this and then we'll do the giveaway. So